All right. Good morning, everyone. Everyone in cyber world, I should say. Welcome to our Forum Financial Coach for You webinar this morning. I am Financial Coach Ray, the founder, the CEO of Financial Coach for You. Thanks for taking time out to join us. You're in for an absolute treat this morning. I have with me the chairman, the CEO of College Funding Remedies. You're looking at Mr. Trevor Ramos. He's the author of a wonderful book, How to Get Free Money for College. What you say, free money. So, Trevor, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, what inspired you to write about how to get free money for college.
Morning, Ray. Well, hey guys, my name is Trevor, and what inspired me to write how to get free money for college? Well, there's obviously a lot. For me, when I was in high school, I wanted to go to a four-year college. Both my parents were teachers, and I always thought that I was going to go directly to a four-year college. But when I sat into my counselor's office, she told me that my best option was to go to community college, and I was a little shocked by that. I played a lot of sports when I was in high school. I thought that was how I was going to get a scholarship to maybe play for USC, play football, play track and field. Um, but it turns out I was too short, basically, in order to play on those teams, and too light. So basically, what I did is, I just decided I was going to lock in. I spent a lot of time in libraries and coffee shops and bookstores. I would take books off the shelf and I would read them. I would put them back on the shelf at the bookstore. Um, and I basically dug in, and I pretty much ended up with $178,000 financial aid offer to go to my dream school, which is Boston University. 165,000 of it was free money I didn't have to pay back, and I had no idea that that option was even available to me. But because I kind of dug in and tried to find the most dialed in informations that even some high school counselors are not aware of, I was able to secure that scholarship. So what I did is I created the book that I wish that I had, because I probably read, I don't know, let's just say at that time period I must have read maybe about 20 books on the topic, but all I needed was really one book to line it up and to set it up properly for myself. So that's what led me to create how to get free money for college, and to go into this field of helping parents and students get a scholarship to go to a four-year college.
Wow, that's awesome. So now, question I have, Trevor, which I know a lot of parents probably have out there is, what if I make too much money? Will I still be able to qualify for all these programs out there?
Yeah, well, make a long story short, if you're at least even remotely concerned about whether you make too much money, what you need to understand is that most of the money in scholarships and grants actually come from the college. And I hear the word too much money is a very relative term. I've heard people that earn as low as 45,000 a year say that they make too much money. And I've had people that earn as much as $600,000 a year get like financial aid grants. And when you fill out forms, financial aid forms, that is one way that you get money to go to college. There's a lot of money given out there just to get you to say yes as a parent. So some of the money is given out based on your kids' grades. Some of it is based on their extracurricular activities. So there's a lot of different buckets. My two favorite buckets to go after is based on your, financial aid forms, which, I would say that until you're hitting about maybe 300,000 a year, that's when you can really say that, you know, when you fill out that form, you may not qualify for a lot of money. You may qualify, but you may not qualify for a lot of money, and it's still a smart idea to turn in your forms anyway. But anything below that, you should be eligible for, at least like $5,000 to $10,000 a year, if not a lot more than that. Some of the examples I give in my webinars has a guy that he gets $21,000 a year. He makes $300,000. He's got $1 million net worth, and that's because the financial aid forms ask more than just your income. They ask for a lot of other things: how many people in your household, what your assets look like, what your current state of your finances are. So don't let that discourage you from turning in your financial aid forms. But also, you want to understand that a lot of the money that's given out is because of your kids' grades, their test scores. So there's a lot of students that I work with that if they fill out that form, they actually wouldn't qualify, but they're still getting $80,000 to $100,000 just based on their grades and test scores. So that would be my answer for that.
Oh, wonderful. So
So
now
now
I'm hearing
I'm
a
hearing
feedback.
a
I don't know if it's
Oh, that might be my let me know.
okay. Still a little bit feedback. But real quick, it's great to know that every little bit helps. You know, especially if you don't qualify for a whole lot, but you still have some money coming in. Uh, so, so basically, what I'm hearing is that a student don't have to have straight A's to get a scholarship.
Yeah, you want to have the best grades you could possibly have because it just means that you're going to get more money at better colleges. I had a 2.8 GPA. That's one of the things in my story. I spent so much time working out that I was not a straight A student. I did improve my grades, but you know, you don't want to tell your kid, that it's okay to not get good grades and you can still get a scholarship, although that really is the truth. Um, but the point I would say is that a lot of parents think that you have to be a valedictorian to get a scholarship, and you don't. You just need to be a little bit above average for the student that's coming to that for the college that your kid is applying to. So let's
Mm-hmm.
just say the average kid. Let's just say the average kid has a 3.0 GPA. If you have a 3.1, 3.2, you'll still get a scholarship because you're in the upper, percentile of students applying to that college. It's all relative.
Okay, that's good. So now, so how going back to school? I know we have high school counselors, and I know their job is to help our kids get to college. Am I right or wrong? Are they able to provide like the list of scholarships that are available for our children? How effective are they?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question because you go to your average high school counselor's office and she'll have books that have thousands, of scholarships in there. And from my perspective, because I live this and I do this day in and day out, it's for me is you might as well be buying lotto tickets. If you're going to be applying to those scholarships only, the way that you get a lot of money is you find the school that's going to give you the biggest scholarship. That's what I do. So it might be that University of San Diego is going to give your kid a $40,000 scholarship, but if they applied to Point Loma, they would only get $20,000. And just to go after $20,000 in one of those scholarship databases, it might require you to apply to almost 200 scholarships to even get, honestly, to even get $3,000. That's the average scholarship in those books, about $2,500. There may be, I would say, somewhere between 80 to 160 scholarships that exist out there, like the Bill Gates Scholarship, the Gates Millennium Scholarship, the American Legion Scholarships, that are actually full ride scholarships. Most of these scholarships are actually pretty small. So if you're not careful, you're going to spend hours and hours and hours applying to, $2,500 scholarships that everyone in the world is applying to as well, versus just picking the school that your child can get into and is already set up to give you 20, 30, $40,000 worth of scholarship money.
Wow. So basically, there's so much money available at our disposal that we just need to go out there and just apply, apply, apply. So tell me, when is the best time for a parent to start, the planning phase? What age is the best age, I should say?
Yeah, well, actually, let me step back for a second, Ray. For your first point, in this scholarship world, you can spend countless hours trying to get scholarships. So I'm all about being real strategic. And what I'm saying is, before you apply to any scholarships on scholarships.com, fastweb.com, before you crack open any of these databases and directories of scholarships, is to find out all the colleges that your kid is looking at, how much money they're already going to offer you, or if they're going to offer you any money. And then, to your second point is, when do you start? Well, I would tell you that the best time to start is the second semester of your kid's sophomore year. That's really when, that's the point when they have about really 7 to 8 months to get ready for their first real scholarship play. For instance, if they take the PSAT on the second semester I'm sorry, the first semester of their junior year, that's already a competition for scholarships. For African American students, they're competing for national achievement. For certain test takers, they're competing for national merit. There are schools that will give a scholarship to anyone who has that designation, but there's so many people that didn't even take it. For instance, I didn't even take it. No one had told me to take it. So, or if they did, I wasn't listening. I didn't know how important it was. Um, I would say also that, if you want to set your kid up to get pretty much the best scholarships at the top schools in the country, say for instance you want your kid to go to Stanford or Yale or Princeton, places like that. You really got to start looking at the classes that your kid is taking all the way into 7th grade, because there are middle schools that are preparing you for the exact exam I just told you about in 8th grade. So those kids are obviously going to have a leg up. They're going to have a lot more time to get acclimated to the whole process. So that would be the beginning of when this actually starts to really make a difference. I would say the ideal time to really start getting dialed in to read up on this stuff would be second semester of your kid's sophomore year, which is right before their junior year.
Okay, that's wonderful. So now another quick question I have for you, Trevor, is I know a lot of times you talk about scholarships, but what about grants? What can you tell me about grants?
Yeah, so I use the term scholarships and grants often interchangeably. Um, Grants are given to you based on your income and your assets and how you complete financial aid forms like a FAFSA. Some schools, even though it's a grant, they might actually call it a scholarship. For instance, like I hold up a lot of award letters. Like, this is a gentleman that probably can't see this, but he got $37,000 to go to Dartmouth College. Well, Dartmouth is such a prestigious college that they're not going to call it a grant. They're going to call it a scholarship. It doesn't matter where the money comes from or what you call it, as long as it's money for me. But you know, grants are typically given out based on your income and your assets. Scholarships are technically given out based on your kid's academic merit, but often it's a grant, but it's really they call it a scholarship and vice versa. If that makes sense.
Yes, yes, it makes sense a lot. So tell me about that free money. I mean, is the free money that you're talking about the scholarships and grants, or is there other monies somewhere else?
That's the first bucket that we go after, because college right now is charging between 25 and almost $70,000 a year. If you want your kid to go to, like I said, University of San Diego, it's about 70K a year. If you want your kid to go to UCSD and you're from California, it's about 33 grand a year. So with what I'm telling you, you can set yourself up to get, let's just say you get $25,000 to knock down a $33,000 cost at UC San Diego. Well, if you really think about that, like the return that you get for the time that you're spending is incredible. And if you can go after a $2,500 scholarship from your church or a $2,500 scholarship from your kids, clubs that they're a part of or the Rotary Club down the street, that's totally fine. But you spend your time and energy going after that $25,000 first and make sure that you get that. And then you spend the rest of your time going after the rest of the money, and especially, just like with fundraising, it's a lot easier to fundraise when you already have most of the money and you're just asking for a little bit more than it is to ask for, from starting from ground zero. So that's kind of how we set the strategy up.
Okay. So now, have you worked with military people at all? Military folks that retire or got out of the military, they have veterans benefits, and they want to send their kids to college. Have you worked at all with military folks?
Yeah, I don't see too many military folks because the GI Bill obviously it covers up to a state college. So, like in a situation like that, again, I don't see them too many times. Anytime I see them, it's because they want to send their kid to a private college, and the GI Bill usually covers up to what a state college cost. So,
Hmm.
say for instance, like I said, if you're from San Diego and you want your kid to go to Santa Clara University, with the GI Bill, you might get it up to about 35,000, but to get all the way up to 67,000, then you have to kind of use the strategies that I'm talking about to get the rest of the money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. And So if for example I have a child in college already, am I still able to get funding for that child even if I have a student in college?
Yeah. The two avenues that I go after, when you're already in college, which the thing about being already in college is that a lot of what I'm doing is I'm trying to find out which college is going to give you the most money. But when you're already in college, you've already kind of committed to a college, and it comes down to how much money that college has, right, to give you. Because not every college has all the money to give you. You might be eligible for a lot of money, but if that college has no money to give you, then there is no increase that you could really get out of them other than a couple other things that we do. Once you've maximized all the money that you can get out of the particular college that you're sending your kid to, the second thing that I recommend is departmental scholarships. So these are a little different than the scholarships you see in these big books and all over the internet, because you have to go to that school in order to get that scholarship. So the pool of competition is a lot smaller. So say, for instance, your kid majors in sociology. You might go to that department and say, hey, do you have any scholarships specifically for sociology majors? And they might say, yeah, we have about 15. And you just find out, hey, like, what do I need in order to get that? And you might end up being one of the few people that even apply to that. Likewise, that's the department. The school itself almost always has a scholarship office specifically, and it's really only given to students that go to that college. These are alumni that want to give back to somebody from a particular segment. And again, that competition is low. You're not dealing with international competition as you would on a scholarship website. The other way, which I consider to be a very easy, low-hanging fruit for me, is you ask your child to become an RA. To become an RA is somebody who, basically they're a hall monitor. They get free housing. Housing right now is anywhere between 7 to 15 grand. So it takes a lot of scholarship in order to equate to 7 to 15 grand a year. So you can't get that until your second, third, or fourth year, depending on the college. But that's something where it's for very little output, you can get a lot of money back.
Okay. So, how about students that are in graduate school? Are you able to help them at all? Because I know graduate schools they don't really have a lot of funding available for them. What can you do for them?
Yeah, I get that question at least twice a week now. I'm not as graduate school expert. I have had a couple of my friends that I've helped, kind of like for fun get, scholarships. I would say right now these days, when it comes to MBA programs, the money's being paid out there. In fact, I would just encourage you to look up. There are a couple MBA programs that actually give a full scholarship to minority students, especially African American students. So that's definitely out there. The dental schools, they're not really paying out that much money. The medical schools, so it's really going to depend on the actual major itself. Um, because I don't really go into that, but I'm really starting to become encouraged to do that. Is just ask the person who is recruiting you, the admissions person at the college that you want to apply to. Say, for instance, USC. Say, hey, are there any other scholarships that I can compete for this college? And he might tell you, hey, yeah, there's these scholarships that you can also throw your hat into. They might require a separate application, or hey, we'll consider you automatically for scholarships. Or they might say that they don't have any scholarships to offer you. But that's something you want to know going ahead.
Okay. So I know everyone is curious to find out about this wonderful book right here. And this is, how to get free money for college. So, what can a parent get from reading this book here, Trevor? What can they expect to receive?
Yeah, you can expect for me to pretty much lay out the entire landscape and context behind a parent who is about to send their kid to college. A lot of times when you're sending your kid to college, you have a lot of maybe assumptions like, hey, do I make too much money? Does my kid have to have a 4.0? How much does college even cost these days? How are people paying for this? And what are all my options? And then, I kind of lay out to you my best secrets and how you get a lot of money. Going through that book, if you really go through that book properly, I would be surprised if you don't, especially if your kid's in high school, if you don't get at least $20,000 for having read that book, because it lays out to you pretty much as simply as I possibly can make it, which I've already started to get a lot of success stories from it. Um, where you go, what the first step you take, what the second step you take is, and how to cut out a lot of the blind alleys that you're going down that are really just time wasters. So it's going to give you the shortest path from point A to B. You know, if your kid's a junior, if they're a sophomore, if they're a senior, if they're a freshman, pretty much exactly what you and your kid need to know in order to make sure you're successful through this process.
Wow. Well, I am reading this book. I do have a 11th grader, and he is going to go to college because he's college bound material.
There you
And
go.
I'm going through this book, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I think every parent in America that plans to send your kids off to college needs to have this book in their library, not just sitting on the shelves, but going through it. And so, how do people get a hold of you, Trevor? How do they get a hold of you, and how are they able to order this wonderful book right here?
Yeah, you just go, if you want to get a copy of How to Get Free Money for College, just go to Amazon.com and type in either Trevor Ramos, TrevorRamos, or How to Get Free Money for College. And it's a green book. It'll pop up. You can get it there. You can get it on Kindle as well if you have, a Kindle reader. On my website, I have a electronic ebook version on www.collegefundingremedies.com. That's collegefundingremedies.com. You can go there, enter in your name and your email. We will email you an ebook version, and you'll also get videos that give you commentary and access to webinars and so forth. So that would be how you'd find out more about me. You can call me, call my office, or send us an email. My email address is Trevor, Trevor at collegefundingremedies.com. And you can give us a call, 626-657-7887. And like I said, I'm always doing webinars, always doing workshops. So, just trying to find ways for you to get plugged into this kind of information.
Well, I am so excited that you're able to join us this morning. You're so young with so much information. You're wise beyond your years.
Thank you.
And so I am so excited to have you on board, Trevor. And I know it's hard for people out there to trust, if someone says, I can help you. It's hard for people to build up that trust. But I can assure you that's listening out here that any guest that we bring on, have the best interest in mind. You have the best, they have your best interest in mind. We at Financial Coach for You are ready and available to meet you where you at, putting together detailed financial game plans. So if you need to contact Trevor, he gave out your information, but I'm also going to post it on my website, Financial Coach, the number 4, the letter U.net, and you'll also be able to get a copy of this recording, because I know it's a lot of valuable information that he shared with us this morning. So I want to make sure everybody gets to listen to it, pause, and take some notes. So without any further ado, Trevor, I want to thank you again. I know you're a busy man. Thank you for joining us on this platform, and we'll see you over the top. All right?
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.